Today, I will be using 2 teams of Pokemon based on the 7 deadly sins. If you have an idea for a Pokemon team, be sure to comment below, and I will use it. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. Now let's get right into the battles. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, lovely people. Today, I am using a Deadly Sins team. Now, this is a really interesting team, and since there are 7 deadly sins, what I did was I replaced one of the Pokemon on my team with another sin. So, special thank you to Ham Sandwich with Lettuce, amazing name. For the team idea, I have 2 interesting battles to showcase. These were really interesting games. I hope you enjoy them. Now, leading things off here with Love Disc for Lust. Now, the whole idea with this team was I wanted to have the movesets be as accurate to the sin as possible. So I'm gonna speed up this part of the battle here. This Love Disc, it's a great set. So it has Whirlpool, so the Milotic is locked in. I have a Sweet Kiss and Draining Kiss on this with Terra Fairy, and I have Attract on this set as well. This set is all about, love, because that's, lust is basically like a deadly sin that equates to mass sexual attraction. And I know that Salazzle is probably a better pick, but these are my personal picks, except for one Pokemon, and I just couldn't help myself. I really wanted to use Love Disc. Who in their right mind would use a Pokemon like this? So you look at that. I yapped the entire time, and the Milotic ended up recovering all of its health. Well, at the very least, the Love Disc was able to do some good chip damage at the very least. So I thought, I'm not getting anywhere with Love Disc. I'm gonna swap in Golden-Go here for Greed. So, I considered Gimmighoul as well. I also considered Sableye for this, but I thought, I like this Pokemon, so I wanted to use Golden-Go because, Greed is all about greed, right? It's all about wow, that's a great explanation, but it's all about wanting as much material desire as possible, and Golden-Go is just a bunch of coins. And the way you have to get Golden-Go involves getting 1,000 Gimmighoul coins or 999 Gimmighoul coins just to evolve it. So I thought, that's a good representation for me. I have a defensive Golden-Go. So this set has Nasty Plot, Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, and Recover. This is easily the best Pokemon on this team. And it has an air balloon as well, so I can avoid ground moves. Now, I'm going to set up my Nasty Plots in front of this Milotic. They actually went for the Alluring Voice, so now I'm the one that's confused. I was doing all the confusion, and now the Milotic confused me. So I'm gonna go for the Shadow Ball here. I'm not running any special attack investment, but man, the Shadow Ball does a lot of damage. I definitely assume that this Milotic is more bulky just because it has the Flame Orb to boost its Marvel Scale ability. So this turn I thought, well, I'm getting down below, I'm getting around the halfway point of my health. Maybe I should go for a Recover this turn and recover all of my HP. So I don't hit myself in confusion again. So I was like, okay, that's good. I'm able to recover my health up to full basically. And the Milotic is gonna go for the Scald. So I was like, okay, well, this turn I should just go for the Shadow Ball here. And unless I hit myself in confusion, I should be able to take out the Milotic this turn. So I'm going to go for, like I said, I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball here just to pick off the Milotic. I also thought Make It Rain was just a very appropriate move just for greed, because, Golden-Go makes it rain with all of his coins. So the Milotic goes for Recover. Unfortunately, I do hit myself in confusion. So I was like, there's no point in me stalling out this turn. They actually went for the Recover, thankfully, so they didn't go for Scald. Otherwise, I would have been on a very low amount of health. And so I thought, I'm just going to take out this Milotic with the Shadow Ball. It's a very big nuisance for my team, actually. So, yeah, there goes the Milotic. So finally, that bulky Pokemon is down, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty in this battle here. So the opponent is going to bring out the Gengar. Oh my god, I forgot to give a jump scare warning. I'm so sorry about that. So, yeah, I really don't want to take a Shadow Ball for this thing. So I thought, Lust, you did your very best, but I'm going to have to sacrifice you to this Gengar because I really didn't have a really good switch into this. So there goes my Love Disc, but, that Love Disc set was amazing. I had Terra Fairy on that as well because, Terra Fairy has the heart. So I'm going to swap in my Slacking here for Sloth. This is a pretty obvious pick, but this is a Choice Scarf Slacking, so I really needed the speed control. Now, the Electivire swaps in with the Air Balloon. I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness if I didn't go for Earthquake, because if I went for Earthquake, I would have been super screwed versus this thing. So the Electivire is going to set up bulk ups, and I'm going to bring in my Mimikyu. Now, this was my favorite set on this team. So obviously, Mimikyu is like a good representation of envy because of how envious it is of Pikachu and all of his fame. Although, funnily enough, Mimikyu is more popular than Pikachu. But this set is all about being envious of the opponent's moves. So I have a copycat set on this. So I copycatted the bulk up. This is a really interesting set. So I'm going to go for the copycat Ice Punch now with +1 attack. It does some good damage to the Electivire, but they're going to go for the Supercell Slam. And man, I just lived. Bulk up allowed me to live that. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to go for the Destiny Bond. I don't know if they'll see it coming, considering I only went for like a couple of copycats, but they do see it coming, and they go for the bulk up here. So this set is all about, you know, making use of copycat as they move. Now, I have Endure on this because the item that I have is Weakness Policy. This is a crazy set because I also have Terra Dragon on this. So in case, like, a Dragon type swaps in, I could Terrasilize into a Dragon type and then bait a Dragon move and then proc my Weakness Policy and then outspeed and go for the Copycat and then go for the Copycat Dragon move against the Dragon type. It's amazing. And I also have Trailblaze to boost my speed. So this turn I thought, well, I'm going to go for the Trailblaze. I never revealed it. The Electivire is obviously going to bulk up anticipating my Destiny Bond. So I'm going to go for the Trailblaze and take out the Electivire. Now, in comes the Talonflame. I thought, are they going to expect my Destiny Bond or not? I wanted to endure just to see what they would do, and they defog. So I was like, okay, that's good. They probably expected my, they definitely expected my Destiny Bond. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go for the Destiny Bond this turn. If it doesn't work out, then, you know, my Mimikyu, it did a lot of work in taking out the Electivire, but the Talonflame goes for U-turn. I was like, oh my gosh, this Mimikyu, because even though U-turn, like, obviously softs out your Pokemon, but if you take them out while they're Destiny Bonding, they get KO'd, so the Mimikyu ended up taking two Pokemon. I was like, wow, I can't believe that set worked out amazingly. So, into my Annihilate here. Now, I thought, yeah, I don't love the matchup that I have into this Hydrapple. I'll explain that Annihilate set. But obviously, that's like a really good Pokemon for Wrath, considering, you know, Annihilate got so angry that it literally died and became a Ghost type, right? So I thought that, you know, it was a better pick than like Primeape. I did originally have like Tauros as well, or Gyarados. Those are also good options for Wrath. Maybe even Poliwrath, but I think that's a stretch. But I'm going to get taken out by the Earth Power. And I'm going to swap into my SkyLaaa now. Now, there's a lot of good Pokemon that could represent Gluttony. Man, the 4 times effective Ice Beam doesn't take out this freaking Hydrapple. I was like, wow, this thing is super Assault Vested, definitely. So, I'm running a Gluttony on that SkyLaaa, of course, because it's Gluttony. And I ran it over a Snorlax and Greedent just because SkyLaaa is, like, representative of, like, a stomach, right? That's SkyLaA's whole thing. So, I'm going to Terrasilize my Annihilate. Now, this is a Terra Normal Annihilate. Now, this set is all based around angry-based moves because that's what Wrath is, right? So, interestingly, the Gengar goes for the Perish Song. I was like, what? Okay, I thought they would go for a Ghost move for sure, but maybe they didn't want to boost the base power of my Rage Fist. Like, that's definitely fair. But this, of course, I have Rage Fist on this set, but I also have, I have Terra Normal Thrash on this, and I have Stomping Tantrum, and I have Outrage on this. So this set is all about the angry-based moves and everything. So I'm going to take out the Gengar with the 100 base power Rage Fist, and I thought, well, Hydrapple might be able to tank 100 base power Rage Fist. I am max attack on this, but I went for the Outrage instead, and the Outrage is going to be enough to take out the Hydrapple. I was like, yes, that's super effective coverage. Unfortunately, I am locked in, so I'm definitely going to get taken out by the Perish Song, but the Incineroar is going to come in, and they're going to give me a Defiant boost. I was like, okay, well, the Outrage is going to be doing some good damage to this Incineroar, and it does so much damage. It does like 75% of its health, but they're going to start setting up the bulk up. So I was like, okay, well, they're definitely going to rely on the last mon Incineroar. I don't really want to swap in my Slacking in case they, because they haven't Terrasilized yet, right? So if I go for like Earthquake and they're like Terra Flying or something, or Terra Grass, then I would be completely screwed. And, the timer is also running out as well. So I was like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to come out on top there. So I brought in my my Swalot, because I'm running Custat Berry with Gluttony, which is going to allow me to move first, basically, and get off the Destiny Bond. This is also a Destiny Bond set on this team. And luckily, the Incineroar goes for the Darkest Lariat and takes out my Swalot. But I'm going to be able to take down the Incineroar with me. And that's going to be the end of the first game. So really, I was really happy with this game. I was able to show off every Pokemon. Now, this game was super interesting as well. Just all of the Pokemon that were used and everything. So I hope you loved this in the first game, because, yeah, I definitely replaced it. I replaced it with the shiny Prinplup, which I will explain more later. So I didn't really like my lead matchup into Scyther, because Scyther could potentially threaten me with the dual Wing Beat. And I'm running a Focus Sash on that Prinplup as well. So it's a pretty interesting set. So it comes to Hydreigons here. So I'm thinking, okay, they're probably going to have Dark Pulse on their set. I'm going to pivot out into my Slacking, because Slacking just has a lot of natural bulk. Maybe I should be able to take a hit. But they end up being crunched. So I'm like, oh, interesting. It's a physical Hydreigon. So I'm going to go for the safe knockoff. They probably swapped out anticipating that I would have Play Rough on this set, but I ended up going for the knockoff just to knock off whatever item the Hydreigon had, and just in case they did decide to swap into their Flygon. So the Flygon is going to end up being a Rocky Helmet. So I was like, interesting. It's probably more of a defensive Flygon. Now the Flygon set up the Stealth Rock, so I was like, okay, this is actually good, because I can set up the copycat Stealth Rock and be able to set up hazards on my opponent's team. So I was like, okay, that's good. I was able to get up the hazards. That's nice. So they're gonna break my disguise with the U-turn. I'm not sure if this Flygon is Earthquake, Outrage, or what other 2 moves it could have, but it comes to Sudowoodo. I was like, whoa, okay. Well, I'm gonna go for the Copycat, and I'm gonna go for the Copycat U-turn Mimikyu. Man, this Mimikyu, it has such a colorful moveset. So I'm gonna swap into my Golden Go. I'm physically defensive, so even if this Sudowoodo is Rockhead Head Smash or Choice Bandit, I should be able to take it very well. But interestingly, it has Stone Edge instead. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's a sturdy Sudowoodo. So it comes to Blastoise. Now the Blastoise is going to come in versus my Make It Rain, and it actually takes it really, really well. In hindsight, I probably should have gone for the Shadow Ball that turn, but the Blastoise ends up really taking it. So I'm wondering if it's more of a specially defensive Blastoise than a sweeping Shell Smash one. But they're going to go for the Flip Turn, and that actually does quite a bit of damage to my Prinplup. I'm like, okay, it might be, maybe it's an Assault Vested Blastoise. Maybe it's fully physical. So the Hydreigon is going to come in, and they're going to set up Dragon Dances. Now, I have Prinplup here for Pride, just because all of its Pokedex entries talk about how it's a very prideful Pokemon, and it rarely will go with other Pokemon in its group. So I thought it was the best Pokemon. Pride was definitely the hardest sin to allocate a Pokemon to. You might argue Pyroar, because a group of lions is a pride, but I just wanted to go with Prinplup just based on the personality aspect of it. So this is a sweeping Prinplup. I'm running an agility set on this with Hydro Pump and Ice Beam, and Ice Beam was able to do good damage versus the Hydreigon at the very least. So I was like, okay, well, they're +2, and that's pretty scary. So hopefully I should be able to live this crunch, which I do. I barely lived it. I was like, yes, annihilate your natural bulk. And I'm going to be able to go for another Outrage and take out the Hydreigon. So that was a good KO. Now, here comes a Blastoise. I was like, okay, well, they're probably going to have Aqua Jet, unfortunately, and there was not much I could do. I really needed to take out the Hydreigon. I don't really know what other Pokemon I had that could really take a hit, and I don't think I could bring in my Swalot just because it could have Earthquake, right? So the Blastoise is going to swap out into the Sudowoodo again. I was like, okay, well, I have my Golden Go here. I just went for the Recover this turn because I'm running that defensive set, and I'm getting low on my HP, and this Pokemon was super valuable in this game. So the Sudowoodo goes for Sucker Punch. That really does nothing to me, and I'm going to go for that Make It Rain and take out the Fake Tree. So I was like, okay, that's good. It's really interesting to see Sudowoodo in this battle. So they're going to swap in their Flygon again. Now, again, not sure if they have Earthquake, or they could probably even have Earth Power. So I'm going to swap into my Mimikyu here. I want to see what this Flygon is going to do if they are going to go for the Earthquake, but they anticipate my swap and go for the U-turn, unfortunately. So I was like, okay, that was a good play on their part. But they're going to bring in the Scyther here. And unfortunately, Scyther is always going to outspeed me. But this turn, I thought, I really want to see if this Pokemon is, what item this Pokemon is running, because they took Hazard damage, so they're not running Boots. And Thief really doesn't do a lot of damage to me. Like, it doesn't take me all the way down to like 1 health with the Endurance. So I was like, okay, well, that confirms to me that this Pokemon is probably not choice banded. And that's going to come into play. It's going to come into play. Trust me. So the Flygon is going to come in. And I thought, well, my strongest move to really hit this is Facade, which unfortunately just barely misses the KO. And I thought, well, I don't really want, like I said, I don't really have any Earthquake switches or Ground type switches on this thing. But they went for the Draco Meteor. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not sure if this is fully special or mixed defensive or what, but that actually ended up taking up my slacking. So I was like, okay, well, I need to Terrasilize at this point because I have Terra Fairy on this Golden Go, and I need to tank like an Earthquake or just any ground move, whatever it is that this Flygon has. So I'm going to go for the Recover this turn. Just recover all of my health, just making sure that I'm healthy enough to tackle whatever Pokemon they have in the back. And they do end up having Earthquake. So I was like, okay, well, I kind of figured that it's interesting that they were running like a more bulky set. I kind of figured that they had Earthquake, but they just never used it because my team is very weak to Earthquake. So it comes Delibird, and I was like, what the heck? So Delibird is going to take a lot of damage. Now, this turn, I thought, well, the Destiny Bond is like super obvious, but I decided to stay in and go for the Shadow Ball just because I thought, well, my Swalot should be able to handle both of the Pokemon that they have in the back anyway, and the Scyther is always going to fade to the Stealth Rocks, right? So I thought, this is fine. I should be able to 1v1 the Blastoise. Even if they go for Earthquake, I always have my Custap Berry in the back to help deal with this Blastoise. So we're gonna both take some Stealth Rocks damage, and unfortunately the Blastoise has Rapid Spin. I was like, what? I was fully expecting, I kind of didn't expect that Blastoise would have Rapid Spin in this matchup because I was expecting like Aqua Jet, like Flip Turn, Liquidation, which it has, or like Liquidation or Wave Crash and Earthquake or something, but it ends up having Rapid Spin. So I was like, dang, the Scyther is going to come in and it's not going to take any rocks damage. And at this point, I'm thinking that it's a Violite, so I'm going to go for the I do have Ice Beam on this, but Ice Beam is never going to KO Scyther, so I thought I'm going to do something that I've never done before and go for the Destiny Bond, and the Scyther is luckily going to be able to go for the Thief and take me out, but it's also going to take itself out, which meant that this game was a tie. Well, technically I lost because my Pokemon faded first, but it's the first draw that I've ever had. Thank you so much for watching. My name is SkyLaaa. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all next time.